What do you get when you combine Adam22, Destiny the Debater, and Ruslan KD in the same room? Yo, what is up guys? Today I'm back with a fresh new video and I quickly wanted to cover this topic, and that is like the most unexpected internet collaboration you will ever find on the internet, and that is Adam22, Destiny, and Ruslan KD in the same room. If you're like me, you're probably wondering like how they even came about to do this. And honestly, I'm gonna say, in my opinion, it probably mostly has to do with the whole entire red pill space. I think that's how these guys all met and collaborated together. Obviously there were other factors as well, but like I think the biggest elephant in the room is really the fact that like this whole red pill space meta genre on YouTube that's been like blowing up for the past 2 years since this pandemic started really has brought a lot of YouTubers together. And literally, man, like so many YouTubers, it's not just these guys, like any content creator I watch that was separately in their own space like 5 years ago has basically like amalgamated and like just merged into just this one space. So now my YouTube algorithm is pouring out like collaborations with so many different content creators that I wouldn't expect to be in the same room together at all, that are like worlds apart, and like literally you're seeing it in full fashion right here. And so I wanted to just make a video of what I thought about this interview, man, and honestly like my thoughts on it and everything like that. So we'll just get straight to it. Now, for those of you who don't know who these guys are, Adam22, he started out mainly interviewing like rappers, hip-hop artists, adult stars, and now he does more so now that he's in the mainstream, he does more so like he still does all that stuff, but he also throws in like interviewing celebrities, internet influencers, and all that. And then Destiny, he's been debating for like 10 plus years. I mean, he's in this whole entire thing called like the debate bro scene. So he has debated pretty much everybody from the far left to the far right, anybody with any type of political ideology. And in particular, when it comes to Christians and debating them and everything like that, like he knows every single talking point just because he's been doing this for so long. And so he knows any talking point when it comes to Christians, when it comes to abortion, pro-life arguments, young earth creationists, old earth creation, whatever it is, pretty much any conversation in the Bible. He pretty much knows what you are going to say or what you were trying to point out to before you can even make your point. Like before you even think about your point, he knows what you're going to say in advance. So Destiny, he blew up in the past year, especially with this whole entire debate bro scene and everything like that, and red pill stuff. And of course, we got our man's Ruslan, man, repping, CHH, repping his brand, and most importantly, repping the kingdom, man. And who better than to get a guy like this, especially because the main thing all three of these guys have in common is that they're very nuanced individuals. They all individually understand like where people are coming from when they're having these types of any type of conversation, really. However, when it comes to Christianity, you could tell these guys are worlds apart. When it comes to Adam, if you watch his videos or anything like that, you could tell he's down for any type of conversation. He's super mellow, super chill guy. I mean, he's the type of guy, if he saw a fight happening, break out in the studio, he would just sit there and watch it, really. But Adam is a very super chill guy. But when it comes to Christianity, you can tell a switch turns on where he gets somewhat hostile just because, he's an atheist. And when you hear his experiences with Christianity and his interactions, you sort of don't blame him, just because with, in particular, how he views Christians, his experiences just come from a lot of Christians claiming to be Christ followers, but then they don't practice what they preach. And so his view of Christianity is he doesn't really see it in the best light. And obviously he has other reasons. And then Destiny, I mean, when it comes to Christians in particular, he's debated a lot of, especially, I guess, I would say maybe Christians that don't represent other Christians, just because since he's been debating so many extremist Christians, nationalist Christians, they'll come up with the most outlandish points to support their claims. And so for him, debating Christians, in the whole conservative space, I mean, like, he's not as hostile or anything like that, but he just really, he has his reasons as to why he doesn't really believe in the faith and everything like that. But the whole point being is that all three of these guys were in the room to have a great productive conversation. And if you watch the video, you got to skip to the first hour that's when Ruslan comes in. And so, yeah, honestly, from the start to finish, man, I couldn't put this debate down at all. Like, I had to finish, some of it before bed, some of it before going to work, the following morning. And honestly, my whole general summary from this debate, what I got is the fact that Ruslan, I mean, the conversation started off all of them having questions about Christianity and just what Ruslan thinks about a lot of arguments for Christianity. And Ruslan was like water. He was slipping in and out. He wasn't rigid at all. And he knew how to answer every single question. And there were a lot of moments where you thought like, oh, dang, like, you know, they got Ruslan. Like, I don't know what he's going to say. Like, you know, because you're kind of putting yourself in that position as to like, what would you say in that situation? And Ruslan is just firing back just because, I mean, honestly, Ruslan, with his type of experience and background and just, I guess, you know, the path God's given him and everything like that, I mean, he is just built for this type of environment, and you could see him thrive throughout. And, you know, by the end of the conversation, you can tell it went from a lot of them having objections and questions and suspicions about Christianity to basically not having any more questions really. And I'm not saying that, like, you know, they walked out being like, oh, I'm gonna give my life to Christ or anything like that, but you can definitely tell the needle was moved, and Ruslan was there to basically, you know, demystify and dismantle any type of, you know, questions that they came in with, and just give them, I guess, a more clear picture of just Christianity and just debunking a lot of misconceptions that people, you know, think about Christians and everything like that, and biases and all that. So, I mean, honestly, it was a great conversation to have. Especially in particular, what I loved was just, you know, Ruslan answering for a lot of things Christians do, you know, such as with like the whole Kanye West rant and everything like that, and what they think of how he's moving around in conservative circles with a lot of far right leaning people, and that are also mixing in Christianity and politics and all that. He gave great responses to all those types of questions. And also what I just love is the fact that he was able to insert the gospel. Once all their questions and assumptions and everything were kind of like, you know, put to rest, he was able to insert the gospel into the conversation. You know, as soon as, you know, they were talking about, you know, why are there atrocities in the Bible, you know, why does God move the way he does and everything like that, he was able to give the good news of Jesus and everything like that. So that was an amazing video, honestly. I highly recommend you watch it. And I mean, honestly, like, you could tell Ruslan, I mean, they all have a lot of things in common that made this video work. You know, the fact that Ruslan came from a music background, was an independent artist, you know, came from a subgenre of hip hop, you know, CHH, you know, the fact that he's from the California area, like Adam and everything like that, and so many things that just compiled up. And then also, you know, coming from an Armenian background, with just, Ruslan's always talking about how his country, he came from like a country that ran on communism. So with Destiny running into a lot of Christians in the past that always bring up communism in the most, I guess, like in a distorted view, and, you know, Ruslan clearing up about like his understanding of what communism is and what capitalism is and all that stuff. Really, the conversation basically made Ruslan out to be a very understanding individual and not somebody who just doesn't know what he's talking about at all, and also someone who really truly does believe in what the Bible says. He wasn't backing his claims off of just, you know, strictly the Bible only or strictly some skewed, you know, data or anything like that. He fully knew what talking points they were bringing up, and you could tell like Ruslan as well, like he knows what type of points people bring up and objections and questions they have, and just the overall blueprint of just how to navigate a conversation. Just because, you know, from my experience and from what I see, you know, to this day online, I find a lot of Christians can enter into these conversations very cringe and just like very rigid and everything like that. And as a result, a lot of people just don't take Christians very serious at all when it comes to these conversations, just because they think that they're in another world, they're very dogmatic and everything like that, and then we're not able to really like progress these types of conversations. So honestly, it was a great conversation. I don't know what else to say, honestly. And really, in reality, it's a great indicator as to like how Christians can honestly thrive. You know, you don't have to be in these conversations and feel like you can't really be successful in, you know, reaching out to people and being a light and sharing the gospel and everything like that. Just because, I mean, like, man, like 5-10 years ago, I mean, like, people would not be having these type of conversations. Honestly, like, you know, in the worst case, people would have been like, oh, like, you know, like Christians shouldn't be associating with like, you know, the works of darkness and using all these spiritual terms, and, you know, people like Adam 22 and his messy content and being in a secular environment and all this stuff. And honestly, if there was a great way to be a Christian and to thrive in a space, and to not obviously compromise your values or anything like that, and to truly share the gospel, like, this is it. This is like, you know, the right balance. This is not watered down. This is like they go through everything. So I highly recommend you watch it, guys, for sure. But that's my take on it, guys. You know, let me know what you guys think. And yeah, that's about it, guys. If you watch the video, you know, comment below. And yeah, take care.
We set the city up. We set the city on fire. We set the city up. city on fire.